music taught me that my family is the most important thing in the world to me. You know, when my oldest daughter was about 5 or 6 months old, I was still working in the industry, living in LA, maybe about 4 or 5 months old. And I was still actively on an upward trajectory. You know, the guys I was getting to work with, my boy Taylor, a couple other friends, Nove, shout out the homies. We were doing some amazing things, and I was getting to make music and write music with people, and I was loving it. And it was what I had worked for the previous 8-9 years, you know. And I had a moment in a studio one night when I was there where I felt a presence of evil that I've never felt, not in combat, not anywhere. And it was heavy and it was thick, like I've never felt it. And I walked outside and I was talking to my homie, and we went out there to smoke, and I remember I got this thing over my spirit, and it felt like it was God to me, and it told me that, you know, so to back it up, I'm jacking up the story. Me and Press were in a really bad spot. You know, we weren't doing well.
Okay.
And she had come to me, I don't know if it was that day. It might have been that day, or it was either that day or it was the day before. And she basically told me straight up, she was like, look, my family's in this life. I don't want this life. I don't want this life for our daughter. You know, she's like, I'm not going to tell you to stop. I'm not going to try to deny you access to our daughter because I know you're a great daddy, you know, but I don't want this life. I don't want to follow somebody around this life. You know, she's like, I just know what this looks like. And, of course, you know, in the moment I was indignant, and I had the male ego, you know, I work for this, you know, and I probably stormed off to the studio. That's probably how I ended up at the studio. I stormed off, but I had that moment at the studio, right? And I walked outside, and I just felt this spirit come over me of God, where he was just like, look, man, if you F this up, I will never give it to you again. And that hit me like leveled me, dog. And I've never had any, as they say, air quotes, come to Jesus moment like that in my life, you know, where it just, the reality of the things that I had experienced with my own father growing up, the reality of what my wife had experienced with her father growing up, the realities of just cycles repeating, just playing in my head, you know, and just knowing that I didn't want to see that for my kids, you know. And also at that point I had begun to start taking ownership of even just my single life choices, you know. There was a period in time, and you knew me during this time, you know, like I was never a bad person, you know, in the general ways, right? I was kind, I was loyal to my people, I took care of my friends, my brothers, right? But I was flippant with people's emotions, you know. I was selfish with my intentions for them. You know what I'm saying? Like I moved and lived selfishly at the time. And having a daughter, as you know, will really awaken an awareness of that and change that, you know?
No, you're absolutely right. You know, and it's kind of interesting that both Kenji and I have 2 daughters. You have 3 now.
Yeah.
And it's like whoever has the next one is probably going to be a girl.
Oh,
you know,
boy.
We can't deny that. It's a wonderful thing. And, you know, I kind of want to